Perfect, ma'am. So with your permission, ma'am, if we can like officially start. I know we already had a candid meeting. Okay, awesome. I'll just take a minute just to let everyone know we have a lot of guests here from other sectors to introduce and welcome everyone for the series named as VC series. We call it a virtual call series. Also saying Vats Creation, VC is the short form for that. So it's a accidental name selection. However, this started in April 2020 during Corona time, and we had 15 guests around us, and the edition 1 went really smooth. However, when we started the thought of edition 2, we really wanted to make it big, and that's how we have all these beautiful, talented, and passionate people with one common link, which everybody believed was the power of networking. That's one common link, ma'am. Everybody over here believes very strongly. We very strongly believe in the concept which you keep talking about. I thought that I'm the only one, but when I spoke to you, I realized that your personal ethics and your mental satisfaction should be your first deliverable or first requirement of any business you do. So I have been into show business, I have been in a lot of business. So we know people who go behind a lot of other things, but it was so nice to find people who just are hard workers, want to be happy, want to be satisfied, want to help people. And with that, their ghar ka bread and butter also goes, if they are genuine. So ma'am, you will find only those people around us today. And that's why I kept it very small. And the whole VC series edition 2 with my beloved partners, Desi Akhada, Sri Nari, Coffee and Conversation, Tasty Tribe, and all our advisors, my parents, we strongly want to cultivate this culture of not feeling bad that you are not the top CIO, you are not the best ROI company, you are not making the dollars, revenues. We want to create this culture, grow and go into multiply the impact of the fact that just do what you love. Just follow your passion, be hard worker. And I know when I spoke to Deepa ma'am a year and a half back in her office, I was blabbering like this, and she was like, Neha, I want to hear. I know she calls herself as a people's collector and people's connector. That's her specialty. And that's when I realized that, oh, ma'am had a very similar experience, and I'm no big great. And she encouraged me so much. And ma'am, you won't believe, after that 1.5 year, Vats Creation has been very, very, very busy. And I know you have given us a lot of clients and a lot of other people. And I am one of those who have been very lucky to find very nice people around me. And that's the origin of VC Series Edition 2. We are going back to all our clients in our multiplication factor of 4. So I have 4 more helping hand. I have a very strong design team right now. I have a very small technical team right now. I have 4 or 5 new advisors. So when I say new advisors, officially we appointed them as advisors, but they are my friends for 10 years. And from the day Vats Creation ka naam kya hoga, kaise hoga, concept kaise hoga, they have been here. So I have, if I can welcome them, I have Arvind, Apur, Ritika, Shilpa, Vineet, Sulabh, and obviously my parents. So they keep hearing a lot. So finally, I was able to create this concept of Vats Creation and VC series around all the correct people. And I look forward that with each of us, we bring 10 each, 20 each, 30 each, and we spread this love and spread this positivity. I think with this, ma'am, I'll play a very small video. One is for what is Vats series, and one is a very small video we made for you, ma'am, later, which we would be releasing it.
Okay.
Over to you, Sulabh. So actually, ma'am, I would have needed 100 more slides to cover your achievements. So I gave that tough job to Nupur, and she's your biggest fan, to help us know you a little more. We all, I know everyone has known you for long, but I would request Nupur to introduce you and welcome you officially today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. It's really an honor for me to introduce Mrs. Deepa Soman, who is Managing Director, Lumiere Business Solutions. She is a trendsetter and is well ahead of her times. Leading companies and industries are warming up to the idea of diversity and inclusion in the current times, while Deepa had thought and successfully implemented it decades ago. Core team members of researchers and analysts are all women in her company, and it's a benchmark across industries. They do diverse range of projects with very reputed list of clients. 80% of the business done by the company is a repeat business, and it speaks volumes about the quality of their delivery. Deepa Soman has been featured in the best-selling book of current times, Follow Every Rainbow by Rashmi Bansal. And that's also how I know her. And today is definitely a fan moment for me. Deepa dons many hats, but volunteering is something close to her. And she is associated with various philanthropic activities for NGOs working in the fields of rare diseases. An avid learner and eternal optimist, let's welcome the very beautiful Mrs. Deepa Soman. Thank you.
What a warm and a kind and a loving welcome this is. I'm really honored. Thank you so much. Thank you, Neha, also for this opportunity to meet some very bright and inspiring startups. I can say some interesting work happening. I'm as curious to learn more about you and to sort of co-create, if I may, some new things that you all are going to do in the future.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, it's a privilege.
Yes, actually, that is a good point. You said Nupur and her brand Tasty Tribe, they have received grants from the government. She's among the very few who has received grants for spreading the awareness of millet. And that's how her brand does that. And with that, Nupur, I would request you to start with your question and discussion with ma'am.
Great. So I'll start the question series. The first one from me is I had been thinking about it since I had, opportunity to read about you in your book, that you built the entire team as a founder, as an entrepreneur, made up of diverse candidates. Like, it's built up of all the women working from home, and that too in quite early when it was unheard of, 90s, in era where this was very uncommon. So so even today, founders, the biggest challenge is to build the team. And to top it up with the challenge that you faced, what kind of message would you want to give us all when it comes to taking the company to the next level with having diversity and building the team together?
Yeah, I think this becomes a very, very important point. And, there is something that Neha said that just as we started, which resonated with me greatly. The 10 people who are with her, including her parents, her close friends, people who believe in the idea, remember, they will always be the first team. I have firmly believed that if we can get along with our family members, we can really get along with anybody in the world, because they are the ones who know us what's and all. They are the ones who will tell us to our face when they don't like something. The candid feedback that you can get will come from them. If they see some things which are off in you, where you are going, straying away from your purpose, or if you are not prioritizing well, if you are not taking adequate self-care, you are the ones. If you are not managing money well, if you're not managing time well, if you're not being effective overall in being balanced, being patient, you are the ones, we will get feedback from our family and our close friends first. And I truly believe they are our first team. For me, Nupur, what happened was, it was like necessity is the mother of invention. So I don't really talk much about it, but when Rahul, my son, was uh, just over a year old, he got his convulsions. First time fever aya, and I was alone in the house in Jamaica, and I really got very scared because at one time we were sitting down and looking at uh, just sort of playing, and then I didn't even realize that the fever had gone up and he got fits. So it was a very scary moment for me, and a lot of my decision to be working close to his school or close to working from home came out of the fact that at any point in time, if there is a call from school, I should be accessible. And this continued till he was 6 years old. We did all the tests. Thankfully, it was not something else. It was not like epilepsy or anything. And it was something that my husband Milind had and my father-in-law had before him. So we knew that in time it will go away. But it became, why I'm telling you this is, a lot of times, what seemed like big challenges to us, if usko gaur se dekhoge na, these are also opportunities. These are meant to be some stepping stones jisse ki we are going to do something with this opportunity, but always it presents itself in the form of a constraint, a difficulty, a challenge. And those are the times in design language now we say that these constraints are what prompt us to become creative. They prompt us to become innovative. So for us, what happened was the school and the house was literally ek road cross karke. So and my daughter was 6 weeks old when we came back to India. So when I would go to, Rahul was 3.5. So when I used to go to drop, as Hindustan Lever, they had come to know that I've come back to the country. So somebody reached out to me. They said, why don't you consider joining the company back? And I was clear that I can't. So when I said I won't, and I already wanted to do something for women, it was like, it was one thing leading to the other. It was not like a clean step-by-step process. One was, I had these constraints from New Bombay. How can I go to Churchgate, leaving 2 children behind? I don't have any elder who's going to be at home. I was not comfortable about creches. I didn't know the place also. And the time, imagine 1.5 hours to go, 1.5 hours to come, even if you're traveling by car, 3 hours of traveling, I was not willing to put forth. Yeah. And when the work comes, if someone wants me to do work, and I don't want to say no to work, because work is Lakshmi coming to you. If you can't do it, you can work with somebody who will be able to do it. So I would go to school में छोड़ने जाती थी, lunch लेके जाती थी. I would look around to say, अच्छा ये ऐसी लग रही है, this person looks very educated, पहले ये काम कर रही होगी. So I used to just go and say, oh, are you working? What do you do? How much time do you have? Do you have any free time? Then I started going to the gym. So I was like a headhunter more along with my gymming to see, is there some but what was very important, Nupur, is I didn't want to do any kind of work because I was very clear कि मैं किस तरीके का काम करूंगी. So my values, today we say, okay, organization ka purpose kya hai, what's the values of the organization, but this was hard coded in me, Nupur. I knew ke मुझे रात को नींद नहीं आएगी if I don't send a quality output. I don't want to compromise my sleep. I will not have peace of mind if it is not the best piece of work I'm doing, which means we need to have team members who think like us, who believe like us, right? So that alignment or meeting of minds, it's like marriage. You can't get married to anybody. You have to have a meeting of minds, you have a meeting of heart, you need to have shared values, you need to have if family is very important for me, family also has to be important for my partner. Ye nahi ke he is interested in something else, I'm interested in family, to fir to jhagarte hi rahenge na. So just like that, even in team, it is like that. No different, because I always believe that, even at Lumiere, it is really about what we say family values, because you can't be one different person ghar pe and one different person professional. Aise thodi hota hai. Today with work from home, organizations have started to recognize, but from day one, that it's the same person, right? At the most, maybe you'll wear a lipstick and thoda sa theek thaak ho karke aap client ke samne aoge, but you're not a different person. If your child is unwell, you are tense. You're not going to hide that. So the authenticity is something that we always knew. So to answer your question, have those conversations to see what ticks the other person. If your company is going to say that, I'm very purpose driven, which means I'm not going to make XYZ compromises, and the other person's priority is money, you may invest a lot of time and effort in developing the person, but nothing is wrong with that. But that person's priorities or drivers will mean that they are not going to stay with you for the long haul. But if you're willing to say that, no, I'm thinking about it right now, it can be win-win. It's going to be great what value this person brings to the table. We are going to be learning from them. But in our mind, we know that this is possibly not going to be more than a 2-year assignment. You're happy, the other person is happy. So having the right set of, of clarity of what is it that you want the person to bring to the table and what you want that person to take off the table. And short stints are fine. Who says that, everybody has to be there getting a long service award? It doesn't work like that. Somebody might have a great set of talents. You want them at this stage of your organization, by all means. So long as at the fundamentals, you are clear and they are clear, which is why I think Neha also talks about the importance of communication. I think extremely important. And communication is not just talking, it's observing. It's listening. It's able to have a dialogue, a conversation. So coffee with conversation. I love conversation because that's really what will allow us to understand each other. What are their drivers? What is it that I want? So that all of the stakeholders are very clear. And then it's a win-win.
Very nicely said, ma'am. And actually that everyone should know here that Deepa Soman, ma'am, and Milind Soman, ma'am, I know Milind sir before, he's my college senior, and now the way I have connected with Deepa ma'am and the way this couple inspires us, like me and Sharad keep learning. And when I met actually Archita, I think she already is following your guidelines, ma'am. And I need to ask her if she made her husband the CEO before of Srinari, or he was the CEO before and then they married. So over to Archita, maybe you can share your queries and discuss with ma'am.
Thank you, Neha. I think the partnership I share with my husband is brilliant, but he's happy with the CEO position, and I would want him to maintain that. And ma'am, like I mentioned, you've been a great inspiration from the time I've known about you, and I know you work and resource a lot of women power, and that is what I also strongly believe in. But today I would want to ask you something as, a startup, as a businesswoman, somebody who's just started up with a lot of passion. What is that one lesson that probably you have learned, it can be a life lesson or as a business lesson, through your entire journey from making a mistake? Yeah. We all fall, and that is normal, but we all have to learn something from that. And what is that one thing that you have learned?
Yeah. So, I think, Archita, it would be, so first of all, I think congratulations. It's very powerful to have your spouse working with you. And I truly mean this, especially if you are aligned and if you can do things together. So even in Jamaica, Milind and I always knew we'd like to work together. So when we went, he's also entrepreneurial, but we were starting with zero. So we needed to have one person needed to have a job, and the other person needed to do something. And then, there is a time in life when financially you can, once you've built your asset, come together. And like I gave you the background, with 2 kids, naturally, I was the one who had the freedom. And I use this word very, and he didn't have the freedom. He didn't have the choice to do something on his own. He needed to go out there and, have a set income. And early days, Archita, there was a research and consulting company in the US. We were doing some work with them. And she said, oh, Deepa, you've got 10 women, I've got 10 people, but I've got 5 boys and 5 girls. I said, we still are not in India at that empowered stage. Men are not so empowered that they can and do something on their own. I'm talking about almost 15, 20 years back, where still you needed to go and have a job, earn a certain salary, do things in a certain way, and not have that freedom to say, I'm quitting this big job of mine and I'm doing something. Yeah, so it's a time has come for men to do that. And I think we are in the last few years, of course, entrepreneurship wasn't even a thing or the word when I started. But to answer your question about mistakes, I think, in the normal course of living, when we explore, when we do something, till we become proficient in it, we will trip and fall, whether I'm learning music, whether I'm learning to play a game. So life is a game, it's a sport, and falling, tripping, getting hurt, थोड़ा सा खून निकलना, कभी कभी थोड़ा सा बड़ा इंजरी होना, going into, yeah, the idea is that is something that I was a lesson. The event is not important. What is important is what मैंने पुड़िया बांध ली किसी lesson को लेकर के, and that is not what I'm not going to forget. So I will not make the same mistake again. I mean, the whole idea is it is inefficient. Until we learn our lesson, Archita, we will keep making the same mistake again and again. So if I'm making the same mistake, or if I'm feeling the same way, if I'm feeling bad, this life is telling me that I have not yet learned my lesson, which is why I repeat ho raha hai. It is like retake after retake till you give a perfect shot. है ना? So what is a mistake? It is that. ठीक है? So if I have said, अच्छा director कुछ मुझे बोल रहा है, okay, so I have to then modulate myself. I have to then perform in a certain way. Then it's a final take. है ना? तो that is what the mistake is. तो उससे ज्यादा उसको ध्यान नहीं देना है, because it is a very important lesson. What is important is what is my seek. मैंने क्या सीखा इससे, जो कि मैं जाकर के I will apply it to improve myself, my relationships, my performance, my work, my deliverable, how well I understand something, right? So what all of life, I mean, I'm 55 years old, lots and lots of mistakes. When you're younger, when you're working for a big company, ego bhi bahut hota hai. So one of the first things you learn is you're not God's gift to mankind. That's the first lesson you learn. वो वहीं पे पहला थप्पड़ पड़ता है. And that is very important, to fall, to have those dark moments, because that is when we connect with ourselves with humility. And if that's a lesson we have learned, that humility will stay with us through life, which is so important. अगर आप माथा झुकना नहीं सीखोगे तो आप क्या, गुरु से आप क्या पाओगे? So humility becomes a very important thing, and life's lessons, the hard ones, the bitter ones, teach us that to stay grounded, to stay modest. और जितना abundance होगा उतना ही पेड़ झुकेगा. अगर and फिर when the storms come, you will, if you can झुको, then you will not break, you will bend, है ना? And even if you break, some new branches are going to come from there. अभी देखिए BMC वालों ने कितने पेड़ काटे हैं in Bombay. And thank God, abhi monsoon mein there will be, but there was no need to be so harsh. Maybe a lot of frustrations were being vented out on those poor trees of lockdown, is what I feel. But yeah, I mean, mistakes are very important. One doesn't have to stay in the negative zone. One can take the lesson. And each one of us, I mean, कोई किसी को सिखाने का जरूरत नहीं है. We all have all this intrinsic knowledge. Where we lack sometimes is when we apply those lessons, or when we sometimes become forgetful. All of us forget. We have that temporary amnesia when, and then we say, oh my God, what was I thinking? Why did I do this stupid thing? I mean, I always know this, but it's like that, right? Sometimes we use our the AC remote to switch off the TV and say, what am I doing over here? So, we do silly things like that. So sometimes you're not focused. So.
Wow.
That's nice, ma'am. Actually,
thank you so much, ma'am.
True. That actually brings, I also had a question from the Vats Creation team, and continuing to the same point, ma'am, there was a time, the fact on being humble and the fact on being too good, does this work? Like, especially for people who are from the creative background, like I am into marketing, branding, and it's all in the mind. If it comes, it comes, otherwise it doesn't come. And we very strongly believe in going to the client or accepting clients only when we are able to relate with them. And you know that, you know that, and I have discussed this with you in long. But how, being practical, how do we, have some tips we can get from you? How do we, monetize it? How do we look formal? How do we look professional? How are we not taken for granted? Because being starting 4 or 5 years, most of us have that average experience here. That is something, is a tough discussion we need to do with our client, like, how to value your own services. I had a lot of issues. I have learned, I'm still learning. If something, you can share your input with all of us on the same topic.
Yeah. So this is always a tricky one, Neha. So, when I first came back from Jamaica, I had a job which was, where it was like a percentage of the project that I would earn. So it was like a 10% of the project. So it was like a consulting fees that I would have, but it was still the work permit they had made for me, the JA Young Research. When I came here, starting off on my own, I really didn't understand kya rates honge, what are the hourly rates. The hourly rate was quite a pittance. If you ask me, the first year, I think the annual billing would have been some 17,500 rupees or something like that in 1996. But I was very clear what I was getting to do was do what I loved, which is I wanted to work. I was associated with the company that I deeply respected and I loved. And I kind of was a very integral part of my I could relate completely with the ethics, with the values, and I wanted to be associated over there. And I was also getting an opportunity to learn new tools, new methods. So Neha, my value proposition was coming out of multiple things where money was one part of it. But the sum total of it is how I worked out my value proposition. So there were people in industry who said that, you're charging too little. This is now not, so-and-so is taking advantage of you. And the way I looked at it was it allowed me to do what I wanted to do. It also became, I learned a term called loss leader. Sometimes you have one or two clients who you work with for reputation. You work because you really get to learn a lot. It's you like being in university, because you get a lot of mentoring lessons. If I'm doing a project where I get to talk to 15 senior people in Unilever, get to interview them, the value of the project may not be much, but each of those 1.5 hours or 1 hour that I'm getting to speak with these heads, I'm getting to build networks also. I'm getting to build getting to understand them. Most importantly, it's a masterclass, a personal masterclass for me, and it's building a huge amount of it. It's allowing me to really hone my skills, because I have to be really good at what I do to be able to have that 1 hour conversation as a qualitative researcher. And Neha, my approach has always been that, you have to be always, the Girl Guide philosophy, be prepared. You never know when a big moment and a big opportunity will come, but you have to be ready with those small moments, practicing as if you were for a big moment. So I was telling somebody that even if I'm doing a talk at a very small unknown MBA school, my preparation will be, Neha, like I was preparing to talk to a Harvard class, no less. Because today I'm talking to a small class, but it's giving me a platform to talk at Harvard or Stanford, where I'm supposed to be at my best. But what if I did my best at the smallest opportunity? So when that big opportunity comes, I will be myself, isn't it? I don't have to try harder. So whether I'm doing in the same week, last week, I got an opportunity to do one event for the US consulate. I was doing another event for IIT Bombay. And for me, the event, uska banner, uska label. So what I'm trying to tell you in a short way is we have to do what we have to do. And that value will come to us. So I'm not going to sweat the small stuff. Yes, I need to keep moving. Having Milind greatly helped me craft the value proposition. But maybe for the first 11 years, my value proposition might have been rubbish. It's okay. I learned a lot. In 10 or 11 years, we worked with some really good brands. They saw that we were not in the losses, because then it doesn't make sense, isn't it? So we were not making losses. So that much one knows that I need to value my time. And, if it doesn't work out, I should be able to be given the facts. See, you shouldn't confuse fact with emotion. I have to give data, and I have to give you data to say, look, this is what my associates would charge me for doing the recruitment. This is what cost of capital is. So if I even put this money in the bank, I'd get better returns. So obviously I have to get more returns than that. And I have to value my time. The moment I value my time, I see the opportunity cost of my time, Neha. I get the answers on whether I should be engaging with this client, or to say that, look, last time we spent X amount of time and we made this kind of money. It's not going to be viable, because it's very important for me to work, because then there are so many more people that depend on me, and I need to be able to pay them well. So the moment I talk data and I talk fact, I'm being reasonable. So this thing of getting into victim mode of someone, the value proposition for them, if it doesn't work out, they won't give me work. Simple. So why complicate matters, right? Keep it simple and say that, ठीक है, मेरे को ये काम करना है, but I want to add this logo. They are at least going to be 20-30% lower than whatever is my client, but I'm doing it because I want this logo. तो मेरे पास क्लैरिटी है नेहा. तो एक बार क्लैरिटी आ गई ना, then we can cut through all of this, and then we don't personalize it. We don't feel bad about it, or we don't say someone's taking advantage, because then I'm ascribing meaning. I'm doing it because I want to do it. I'm not doing it because I don't want to do it. Then there is clarity. That's what I would say.
Very nice, man. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Very insightful that is. And, with this money discussion and heavy topic, I would, pass it on to Manasvi and give us some idea about Desi Akhada and how fitness plays an important role, and what is something that she wants to ask Deepa ma'am. Manasvi, over to you.
Okay, ma'am. Hello, Deepa. I am Manasvi Sharma, and I am the member of Desi Akhada. And it's Desi Akhada. Basically, it's a kind of a virtual running session and platform. And there are so many members, around 10,000. And even the past year, the members has been increased more in number. So it's a great opportunity to those people who are just who don't know that. Being such lazy, so they also get encouraged by this platform, Desi Akhada. And they arrange and coordinate some very useful events, so people more and more just encourage in that. And I have a question for you, that in your point of view, from your point of view, which according to the Desi products in the millennials, which are Indian products, so when compared to the such multinational brands, so how do you just see means your point of view? What's your point of view on that basis?
So Manasvi, there was a time when the Indian consumer was very fascinated by international brands. Very fascinated. Yeah, those were the times when we didn't have this kind of access to social media. We didn't have access to a lot of reviews and access to reviews. We didn't have word of mouth, importance of word of mouth to sort of create some kind of advocacy as consumers, where if I use something great and I go and put on Facebook or my Insta saying, this was something really nice that I tried, automatically people who trust me start to follow me. The Indian consumers, millennials today, are extremely value seeking. They do not have much of brand loyalty. They're very exploratory. They want to try out a lot of new things. They want to have experiences, and it's all very global in character. What I'm really looking for is, when I say global, I could be creating a taste space for somebody and writing about it, which someone in some other country is also looking at. So today the markets have collapsed. I have access to information. I have access to ingredients. I have access to knowledge. So the evaluation is on merit. The evaluation is on what I experience, my own experience, in the context of what time, effort, money I paid, how easy or how difficult the whole delivery process was. So the whole experience as a consumer, my consumer journey, my experience from the time of discovery to the time of the experience of receiving the product at the last mile with that delivery gentleman who gave it to me, or how, wet and how the package was and whether that was a pain point, all of it makes for the experience. So it's not about anymore just about a multinational brand versus a local brand. I think the whole considerations for choice, Manasvi, have completely changed, right? So if I go on to the Desi Akhada site and I look at it and say, oh, I find an about us, I find a purpose that inspires me, something which tells me about why did the founder feel the need to form this? Was there a personal story? So today consumers are, Manasvi, seeking stories. What is the reason why Neha started what she did? Or, why did Nupur start something? Why did Archita start something? Because today, like even when I talk to entrepreneurs, I say the fire in the belly, this passion has to stay for a long time. Are you doing it because it's only about a funder you're seeking and then you're looking to offload, or do you believe in this cause? Because day in and day out, to come up, to show up, to be engaged, to keep doing something even when the odds are down, when you don't have a client, when the lockdown is going to mean that there's stock lying somewhere. So keeping up your motivation and morale, उसके लिए बहुत पैशन चाहिए, बहुत ही staying power चाहिए, बहुत ही perseverance चाहिए. So it is about endurance. It is, you have to do on a day-to-day, mind you, you're doing day-to-day sprints only, huh? And that sprint is taking you closer and closer to your goal. But you still are running a marathon. You still will pause, you will still reconnect, you will still have a good night's sleep, you will still get not let your battery get completely discharged. So you have to plug yourself into your family, to people you love, to things that's going to give you energy, recharge, boost. Yeah, have good sleep hygiene. ये नहीं कि अपने device को charger पे रखा और खुद को discharge कर दिए. And then you have to get up for the other day. So your consumers are there waiting for you to say, Acha, how good is this product, the new product that she's brought out? So it still has to be created with the same passion, with the same energy, isn't it? So the value proposition for consumers is what they're evaluating. The customer experience is what they're experiencing. The little things that matter. It's not only the big things, it's the little things that matter. Yeah. So
thank you, ma'am.
Right,
I know, I don't know whether that answered you, but this was what I felt.
But sticking to energy, I think the one Cinderella's Midnight, before Cinderella's Midnight, I should come to Ritika and ask her question. That's something which she always energizes us with her coffee. Whenever she's happy, she'll have a coffee. She's sad, she'll have a coffee, and very well justified to the company she's part of. And I think we all would need a coffee even now. So and I love the bond these three friends have. So maybe Ritika, over to you, and how conversation along with coffee plays an important role in anybody's business, brand, individual. You would know the best.
Okay, thank you, Neha. And once again, Deepa ma'am, welcome. And thanks to VC platform, we get to discuss everything. So as you all know, that Coffee in Conversation is a digital coffee house that inspires people to share their experience. And our authors and editors, basically, they want you to share your experience, and we publicize it in a way where you connect. Like you said, Deepa ma'am, you have to have the quality instead of the quantity. That's what we believe in.
Yeah.
So the whole story behind the Coffee in Conversation was this only. They wanted they were working for different magazines and they wanted their own stuff just to have that, quality feeling. We want to start small and let's do it together. So that's how, that's our base basically.
Sure.
So our editors are equally enthusiastic if that person is a 14-year-old teenager, or any person who wants to share their experience, or any 85-year-old lady also. We have the span of everybody's article on our website. So right now, everybody, due to lockdown, nobody is able to travel. So our hot question is actually travel. And through Neha also, I know that you are a lover who loves to travel basically. So as a travel enthusiast, so what's the most interesting thing you have learned? That's our basic question.
Yeah. So first I need to set things right, that I am a travel enthusiast for a reason. And that is because as a somebody who collects stories, people and places are replete with stories, Ritika. So, allowing me to get under the skin of just not being a tourist. But there's a difference between being a tourist and being a traveler. A tourist has got, checklist in terms of, or a bucket list of, these are the places that I should tick off. A traveler is someone who has the desire to be genuinely interested to understand a little more behind what meets the eye. So not to do the oft-beaten touristy things, but a traveler is to really go and connect with the culture, the history, the language, why people are the way they are, why they celebrate it this way, what is what's the fabric of their relationship. So the sociologist in me is very, very curious to understand a little, go deeper. So having conversations is again my style, and that's travel conversations. So if I'm sitting in a cab in Sydney and I have this late night pickup, this lady who's come, I'm very curious and I want to know about her. Which country is she from? For me, then it translates into what I blog and I write. So then there is a LinkedIn piece that I write about this girl who is from Egypt. She's a mother who's maybe not living with her partner anymore, but she's got a 14-year-old daughter who visits her. And then this taxi driving that she does, she's got a day job as a designer, but she drives taxis at night because she wants to earn extra money, and she's throwing a surprise party for her daughter's 15th birthday, which is around the corner. Now, for me, that's really interesting. Or this Chinese driver who came to the airport to pick me up. I want to go under he had a big job. He worked in England. He has, but if you look at things just the way they appear to the eye, you are just seeing something very monochrome. You don't know the layers. You don't know why. What is he? Oh, he plays golf in the afternoon. I love to know this. And people surprise us. Travel gets us to keep widening our perspectives, Ritika, because it says, just when I think I figured something out, I discovered that I haven't figured it out. And that's the exciting part of the learner in me, is fascinated to discover how little I know. And that's why I think I love to travel too, because it keeps me always like feeling like the child in the candy shop. Abhi ye lena hai, ye lena hai, and that's what life is all about, isn't it? It's like it's about discovery. It's about and through that I discover things about myself. I haven't written in a certain way, maybe I haven't used a certain word. So it's a two-way process. On the outside, as I go deeper outside, I go deeper within, and the twain meet when I write, or when I write in my daily journal, or my that's also marking my own growth, my own journey from year to year to year, because the way I wrote maybe in 2012 and my observations might be very different from my observations in 2021. So I like that Facebook memory, because I think I use this word, I thought I wouldn't have written this today maybe. So it's that also.
Thank you, ma'am. It resonates so well with everybody, actually. Yeah, personally also. Yeah, it resonates. Whatever you shared, it actually, you have that kind of experience yourself also. That's why you gel so well. That's why, you're a learner, basically, just like a kid.
Yeah, that I am.
Ma'am, thank you so much, ma'am. And if you allow, I have a question from a very dedicated and passionate junior of ours. And
Sure.
I know we remembered about the COVID drive we did. So he has been leading it. So his name is Prince, and his sister is a doctor at AIMS Patna. Unfortunately, he dropped. But I would just quickly would want you, if you can help him understand. So what he's
I've seen his
so
question.
he says, yes, what I'll just repeat the question. What's your advice to men so that they can contribute better to the society and blissfulness of the ecosystem as a whole? If you can share some light on that.
Yeah. So I think, Prince, that's a very, very important question, because society is made up of the genders. So, like I said, in this lifetime, we are men or we are women, and maybe in the earlier lifetime, because I believe, like a practicing Hindu, in multiple lifetimes, and so many other religions believe in multiple lifetimes. So I might have been a man in another generation. So there are, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 26, the Lord talks about in chapter 16, verses 1, 2, and 3. He talks about the 26 Daivi qualities, the divine qualities. And these divine qualities are not about gender. Yeah. So if there is patience, there is adroha, there is there is gentleness, there is apeshuman, not feeling too proud about yourself, not putting, these are universal qualities. And I think if we lived our lives in perfecting, so in fact, for my children's birthday, I gave them a poster with, where I had drawn out, where I had written out the 26 qualities, the Sanskrit name, the English translation. And for my daughter, I also did a drawing of the top 9, just as an illustration, because I had done that as an exercise during the Chaitra Navratri. So if men and women, and if we learned to take stock of where am I with respect to, let's say, abhyasa. Abhyasa is daily practice, daily study. Every day we have to do something daily. For our body, we have to do some exercise, some vyayam. There is some swadhyay, there is some self-study that is required. There is dana, there is something that I do. There is daya, there is, for each day, if I took stock of how did I do against these 26 qualities as a self-reflection before the end of the day, and say, okay, I don't think I did so well on daya. Maybe I could be a little more compassionate with my mother, who possibly I was a little more brusque with when she said, "Ek aur roti khao." I could have told her nicely that, no, I really don't want to have that extra roti, but I needn't have been rude. So every day I get a chance to look and self-evaluate. And I gave this to my kids on their birthdays to say, put it up on your notice board. Put it up on your notice board, because last year when I did this Vision of Life course, and I had a deeper exploration into chapter 16, verses 1, 2, and 3, I made a discovery to say, यार अभी और कुछ करना ही नहीं है. Every day इसको track करते जाना है. All of us have ultimately here to claim our divinity. How am I doing today vis-a-vis what I did yesterday? How can I do tomorrow? And our work, our karma bhumi, our family, these are all playgrounds for us to go out there. यही तो हमारा कुरुक्षेत्र है. This is where we have to go and have our experiences, right? People are not these, whether they are our cousins, they are our relatives, they are going to keep giving us life lessons, because they are the ones who will tell us to our fact if they don't like us. Neighbors and के साथ, or Facebook friends we've not ever met के साथ, to be nice and charming and send sweet emojis is very easy, है ना? But the test is when we have to be with people who tell us, yeah, what is this? Why are you not doing something or the other which is hurts? And that is really where we get an opportunity. So my answer to you, Prince, is to say, men or women, all of us have an opportunity to contribute to the world, to the ecosystem. It is about balanced growth. How am I balancing? So even making money is about balance, giving back to society. What am I drawing in terms of resources? What is my footprint? Yeah. How am I giving back? Am I collaborating? Am I helping? So I think It's really about practicing all of the things that we know, good, simple morals that we have all learned. It's just about वो practice में problem होता है. Everybody knows सुबह आप उठ करके exercise करना है, but nobody needs to know. Everybody knows it, that we have to eat in moderation. It's the practice that becomes, and therefore, as a ecosystem, I like what Neha is doing. There are lots of triggers. There's this beautiful book that I want to show you by Marshall Goldsmith called Triggers, and there's a lovely daily practices on, it's called Sparking Positive Change and Making It Last. So it's a really nice book, and I would urge you to take a look at it. And he talks about, and this is something that we know, that our environment is always stronger than the individual's willpower. So if the environment around me, if I do not surround myself with people who are like-minded, who support me, I will keep going down. If I'm trying to quit smoking and I keep hanging out with friends who smoke, it's very hard for me to quit. Yeah, we know it. If I'm trying to lose weight and every day I'm with friends who want to go into the, have a milkshake and have some samosas, kachoris, I should stay away and say, yaar, main 21 din ke baad aata hu, when I've met some high, and then maybe 21 din ka, do fit right in and do fitness and try and get a few inches off. Tab tak थोड़ा सा टंग कंट्रोल भी आ जाएगा, so you can say यार एक समोसा नहीं, एक बाइट लूंगा तेरे प्लेट में से. So I think this is what I would like to tell you.
Nice, ma'am. And actually, you touched a very emotional topic of Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana, though it is not part of our script. But I don't know if Sulabh is still around. Something which Sulabh and I keep talking on daily basis, and he keeps influencing me that how I should read it and how I should impact. Sulabh, I am sure you are very eager to share your thoughts on this.
It's the best management book in the world. Let me tell you that.
Yes,
it's the best.
Yes.
Yeah, MBA की किताब है, उसमें सब कुछ है. By the way, parenting tips है, सब कुछ है. And at the end, the Lord says, he says in chapter 18. In 48, when he says, ये सब तो मैंने आपको बता दिया, अभी आपको जो करना है आप करो. See, that is what parents don't do. They tell, अच्छा नहीं आपने यही करना है. Parents नहीं करते. The Lord has said कि ये सब तो मैंने अभी बता दिया, अभी आप सोचो, आप करो. I know Neha does that for a little one. ये सब मैंने आपको बता दिया, अभी आपको क्या खाना है खाओ.
So I have also noted down all the chapter names that you were talking about in your previous question answer.
Nupur, you are a note taker like me. I also write notes.
Yes, Sulabh, you want to share? I know you have read Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, and you follow it in all the kinds of work. So, ma'am, he's a very strong pillar of most of us here, and he's a legal person. Though he is associated with a lot of brands, but he will be, we have a foundation, me and Sulabh are part of a foundation also. So a lot of where you will see him and hear him, but today I would love to hear about his encounter and how he thinks about Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana and their learnings.
I'm not that literate to talk about that on that, but just want to say one thing, ma'am. I'm associated with different brands on a philanthropic basis, and Desi Akhada is one among them. But my profession, I'm a practicing advocate in Rajasthan High Court.
Wow.
So I see it is one of the darkest profession, and we see one of the darkest phases of life actually.
My son and my daughter-in-law are both advocates, Bombay High Court.
So you must be aware, ma'am. I mean, on daily basis, you see one of the most difficult phases of life, and in those, it is very important to keep that positivity upright, bringing up along your clients and everybody. And as you said, man, Bhagavad Gita is everything actually. You don't have to read any book अगर वो ढंग से पढ़ो. और आपको सुन के पता लगता है मैम कि जीवन का जो अनुभव है ना, वो ही बोलता है. किताबें कभी नहीं बोलती हैं, आप कितनी भी पढ़ लें, बट ये जो अनुभव है ना आपका मैम,
खुद की लैब में टेस्ट करना पड़ता है ये.
Absolutely, ma'am.
खुद की लैब में टेस्ट करना पड़ता है, अच्छे से तप होना पड़ता है, बहुत इम्प्योरिटीज को जलाना पड़ता है.
Absolutely, ma'am. बिल्कुल आपकी बातों से साफ पता लगता है मैम कि जो आपने बोला कि इतने साल का अनुभव है, और वो अनुभव ही विद एक्सपीरियंस बाहर दिखता है. And that is how you want to relate with the person like that. क्योंकि not everyone get that chance actually. मैं ये नहीं कह सकता कि हर आदमी उतना समझदार होता है या नहीं होता. बात ये है कि लाइफ सबको शायद उतना चांस नहीं देती कि वो उतना एक्सप्लोर कर सके अपनी लाइफ में.
टाइम लगता है ना, टाइम लगता है. तो इट्स लाइक सेइंग के पेड़ होते हैं, अलग अलग टाइप के पेड़ होते हैं, एंड एवरीबडी, हम लोग 8 मिलियन लाइफ टाइम्स को तो करके यहाँ पे तक पहुंचे हैं ना.
यहाँ तक तो
यहाँ तक पहुंचना ही बहुत बड़ी बात है. So like Shankaracharya says, having a human life, having a quest for perfection, and then of course finding a guru. These are, if अगर ये 3 भाग्य में हो तो बस we are, nobody is luckier than us. फिर कितने सारे कोरोना आए, कुछ नहीं.
हाँ, वो तो है.
तो बहुत लड़ करके 8 लाइफ टाइम से यहाँ पे पहुंचे हैं. एक कोरोना क्या कर देगा.
And what all works was on the third, I think the most important principle for everyone to understand is the third law of Newton, which is to every action there is equal and opposite.
Absolutely, everything is physics. It is not mathematics. It is
Gita
physics.
Is one of the most.
It is all physics.
Yeah, it's complete physics.
Absolutely.
I know, ma'am. This we can go for whole day. Conclave करेंगे in Lonavala, and we will call all these people, and I'm sure we can talk for years.
हाँ जी.
आपको तो मैम अभी और सुनना है.
नहीं, हमको बहुत अच्छा लगा. Really nice.
And actually, with this, ma'am, I'll pass it to Archita. We have just one last question and just run across everyone. I know we have 5 minutes ahead of schedule, but we should be done in 3-4 minutes. Archita, over to you, and then maybe we can wrap with all of us saying bye to ma'am in their way.
Thank you, Neha. Ma'am, I would want to speak on behalf of everyone. And, you have been inspiring in this one session. And I can imagine how you have inspired, so many women and men, in your journey. Thank you so much for this. So I have one question on behalf of everyone again is, where do you get your inspiration from? Is what we would want to know.
Yeah, God and Guru.
Wow.
Yeah, God and Guru. Because I have mulled on this question a lot, Archita. We humans will always have feelings. So, of course, my parents have been hugely inspiring. My in-laws have been hugely inspiring. My husband, both my children inspire me. My daughter-in-law inspires me. So I get inspired like, Dattatreya had 24 gurus. I learn from everything and everyone. Yeah. But one of the things that I'm very lucky to have a great guru and mentors who have always, I think, guided me. So I've taken both Milind and I follow Paramhamsa Yogananda. So the YSS, we are students of YSS, and we took Diksha in 2018 in Ranchi. And I'm a very sincere student. You could have noticed that I'm also learning that sincerity does not mean that I have to be serious. So I am also learning that to give up on the seriousness. I also have great mentors in the Aghor Foundation head, who is Baba Harihar Ram, between the Sonama ashrams in California and Varanasi. They are also involved in some projects in Varanasi with the Aghor Foundation, and we see the good work that's being done. And my team also has, we've had Baba Harihar Ram come and do a beautiful talk for the Lumiere team, which in my naivete, I didn't record because I didn't ask his permission. And later on, I regretted very badly that I didn't. But har cheez ka, maybe there were, it's like us knowledge ke liye auqat bhi honi chahiye. So I feel that maybe we will probably have that auqat in some time when we will record that session. Then there is Prasad Rangnekar. Prasad Rangnekar, I regularly, Nupur, if you are interested, I regularly attend his, he has a very beautiful YouTube channel called Yoga Prasad Institute, which has really nice talks. Prasad is a very practical teacher. He teaches all over the world. And I'm very fortunate to attend his retreats with Milind very regularly. And even my guru has a very beautiful book on the Bhagavad Gita, which is a little more metaphysical, called God Talks with Arjuna. So the अघोर का मतलब है बहुत ही सरल, ना जो घोर नहीं है वो अघोर है. So it's very simple, right? So I need access to a lot of information because sometimes I need to talk to people. So I direct them to those websites, and like I say, I always consider myself a receptacle, a carrier, or a platform. Platform क्या होता है? लोग चढ़ते सड़क पे, जैसे लोग चलते हैं, ट्रेन चलती है, तो अपना काम है एक प्लेटफॉर्म बनना, enable होना, to become an enabler, and to just be an instrument. And I just want to see, if I'm to be an instrument, then I have to be really clean. I have to be, you don't want to handle an instrument that is dirty, right? I mean, if you've done any work, a simple foot rule be, if you're using a ruler, or tailor is using it, I mean, the tailor needs to make sure that rubber also clean hai, uska ruler bhi clean hai, nahi to kapda kharab ho jayega. So my job is to keep making myself very pure and very clean, because clean ही इंस्ट्रूमेंट से, क्लीन ग्लास होगा तो उससे आप पानी पियोगे. तो क्लीन होना मेरे लिए बहुत जरूरी का है. And I always say that is why maybe I work with Hindustan Lever, because of all the cleaning instruments that they make. तो साफ सफाई बहुत जरूरी लगता है मेरे को. All this स्वच्छ भारत मेरे लिए बहुत जरूरी है, because when you travel abroad you feel, okay, my mission is that if we can sort of, once we become clean on the outside, it will keep manifesting on the outside also. Once we are clean on the inside, it will manifest on the outside. And clean is not just in the physical space, clean is in the space inside. Because अगर आप अंदर क्लीन हो तभी भगवान आएंगे ना. भगवान खुश रहेंगे अंदर रहने के लिए. अगर आपकी अंदर की जगह, अंदरूनी जगह साफ नहीं है तो भगवान क्यों आएंगे अंदर? So
wow, ma'am, and with this such beautiful words, I really don't want to add anything on here to it. Such a thought-provoking thing. We all will go back and think about it. I would love to wrap today's session. If you allow 1 minute each to all the speakers, how they felt, because we have been like very excited. I would love to hear, starting with Manasvi. First time, Manasvi, आपको कैसा लगा? अगर आप share karo, and then we'll wrap the session today, and all of us 1 minute each.
Deepa, I just feel very blessed to have you and to listen you such your beautiful and amazing words. Literally, I am very, just happy insidely.
But stay happy. It is that only. बस वही करना है, खुश रहना है.
Yes.
All these बाहर की चीजें होगी, that's okay, but अंदर का environment अच्छा रहना है.
Positive. Yes.
Positive रहना है.
That's what my motto is. Stay positive and feel positive.
बिल्कुल.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
ma'am. Thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ritika.
Yeah, Deepa ma'am, like you said, you keep getting inspired by everybody, and from as a personal, even I take good things from everybody. Even I meet somebody who's not, I'm not vibing well, I try to take good things from them. So, but from your session, I have so many things to take from you. I mean, such thoughtful and such great examples you've given us today. And you connected so well, giving us the basic examples jo aap de rahe the, ghar ka bhi, bacche ka bhi, job ka bhi. It connected so well with us. So thank you for, so giving us so much of insightful. So that's what I want to say. Thank you so much.
And I'll
again.
be happy to write on your platform. Huh?
Oh yes, definitely, ma'am. I was like already planning, because I know Neha ke through aapko, I know most of the stories. So I was like, I want her to be on the platform. So she, okay, we'll gradually. Sure. So of course, ma'am, I'll connect well. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
And ma'am, Ritika is a perfect example of why you started Lumiere. She has 2 daughters, both teenagers. And she has restarted her career 2-3 times, like one when she shifted to US, one when the kids got back to school. And she's like a perfect example. She's my elder sister, and anything on the world, she's my first go-to person. So thanks, Ritidi, for trusting and getting your friends involved. And I'm sure there will be a lot of collaboration with Lumiere and Coffee and Conversation. And let's take this ahead.
Definitely.
Thank you. Okay, over to Archita, Nupur. Anyone?
Nupur, you want to go ahead?
She will not stop. My God. Archita, please.
So, Archita, you take your turn.
thank you so much, ma'am. All I can say is that, you have inspired me so much that actually I was thinking of a lot of things that I have personally heard or experienced in my life. So I was brought up by a single mother, and and a very supportive, strong pack. My family, the men in the house, and we've learned so much from experience. And what I loved more about this session is seeing the wall behind you. I know you have read a lot, but what you talk is all out of experience, like what Sulabh said, and that is what I think is so inspirational. And the one thing that I remembered my uncle used to tell me, because he was my father figure, is that you can put boundaries in countries, but you cannot put boundaries to humanity, or you cannot put
Beautiful.
boundaries to creative thoughts. And you kind of made that stronger for me today. So thank you so much, ma'am. You are an inspiration, and I'm just waiting to connect with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Archita. Thank you.
Now I start, Neha.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Deepa, when you started in the beginning and you started speaking about abundance and rebirths and all that, so there was something in my mind that I should, know about the spiritual side of you. And but how to link that in this platform? In the second question, I was thinking about that, the books and the. I should ask this. So, and I manifested it so well that you yourself showed the book and you delivered everything related to my interest. So I'm so happy, and I had goosebumps listening to you today. We are really privileged that we had, an hour or more than that from you. So I have nothing to say. I'm just so delighted and so happy to know the hubris side of you. The actual thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I think it is important to, develop on all fronts. And that is very, very important. And it's not just about reading, because books, maybe I look at it as books. I used to, at a point in time, think that people who didn't read enough were less. But I have met people who really have so much wisdom that they have carried it from some lifetimes. Hum log to, we are the plodders. We are the ones who need to read the book so much. Some simple people will have such wisdom. Look at the saints. Look at our saints. They were illiterate. Look at Ramana Maharshi. Look at that. So, book knowledge. See, important thing is what? आप सीखते रहो. आप कहाँ से सीखोगे? वो मायने नहीं रखता. आप कहीं से भी सीखो. जरूरी नहीं कि आप बुक से ही सीखो. कुछ लोग करके सीखते हैं, कुछ लोग सुन के सीखते हैं, कुछ लोग पढ़ के सीखते हैं. We are visual learners. There is the important thing is that we should be a learner.
True.
Thank you, ma'am.
Awesome, ma'am. Awesome. Thank you so much. I really want to thank everybody here for their time and all the excitement because of Deepa, ma'am. We were in last 15 days of preparation, and the technical team and the design team and your team, ma'am, even Rohan and everybody from your communication team. I know we'll be interacting more. And thank you, ma'am, for your time. We took a little half an hour extra, but I hope you had a great time, and looking forward to take this ahead, ma'am.
And thank you very much, each one of you, for sparking that wish in me to share. And I think I could sort of feel the vibe, feel the energy of like-minded souls. And I always feel that, when I meet young people, like especially Manasvi is here, this is the generation who is going to really shape the world. And for me, it's always a privilege to connect with a young person. And one is, of course, your dedication, that you are a doctor, you are studying, you come from China, you've logged in. So hats off to that spirit also. So wish you all the best.
Welcome, ma'am.
And Ritika, it must be very, very late for you, and we have kept you away for a long time.
This was much needed, even though it's like weekend, so no worries for that.
Yeah,
it's a great refreshment for us.
Nupur, Sulabh, I really look forward to being in touch with each one of you. And Neha has become our child, I think. So we enjoy her company and her enthusiasm. and her presence.
Yes.
Really nice.
That is one main thing, ma'am. We are part of so many talk series. I really told everyone initially that this has to be something which has to be long term. We are not over here just coming and talking. We have to see what goes ahead, and this is just the start of our bond. And I'm so happy that all of us were able to connect with you in whichever ways, emotionally and technically and inspiringly, whichever way. And I really look forward to take this ahead. I'm not taking any much more of your time.
And use
Thank
me
you,
in
Dr.
whichever
Deepa.
way. I truly am saying that. Just use me in whichever
Yes,
way you
yes.
think it can be of value for you. Seriously.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Starting next week, we'll start putting all this on social media. That's what we do.